Welcome to Chasing the Beats, a show dedicated to weeklybeats.com artists, their songs, and stories from the 2024 season. I'm your host, SQF, and our guest today is Mission Crossing. All right, welcome to the show, Mission Crossing.
Hello. How's it
going?
going?
Oh, it's going well over here.
Nice. Going great here. I'm excited, nervous, everything.
Yeah, people always say that they're nervous, and I find that interesting because I'm not nervous, but
I think like we had we were like talking a little bit before the show, and I was just like, I was nervous, I got relaxed, and then like something happened. You just hit that record button and I'm like, crap.
pressure's
Well,
on.
the pressure's on. Okay.
No need to be nervous. We're just here to talk about our music and Weekly Beats experience. And to start it off, was this your first Weekly Beats?
No, this was not my first Weekly Beats. This was, let me see, I think I started back in 2018 actually. So this was my fourth Weekly
Nice.
Beats. And actually it's kind of interesting. So the way I heard about Weekly Beats is that I actually used to work with Tim. So we worked in the same
Oh,
company. Yeah. And he was just kind of like setting this website up, and he's like, yeah, like, do you want to like try it out? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, let's make some music. And that's kind of how I got my start on Weekly Beats.
cool. And I can't remember what year the M8 came out.
Oh,
This was
this
pre
was
M8.
way before the MA. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's cool. And what was your music making prior to that?
So not too much. So like way back in high school, I loved playing video games. And especially I loved like the music in video games. I used to play a lot of Final Fantasy, and there's this website called OC Remix, Overclocked Remix, and folks took video game music and they made rearrangements of it. And I always wanted to like make a rearrangement, make a remix of like a video game track. And like they had like some very like harsh judging, I guess. Like if you wanted to like get on this website, you had to like submit your track to this panel of judges, and they would like critique your mix, et cetera, et cetera. And that was
The
all.
gatekeepers.
Yeah, the gatekeepers. So I don't think I ever actually like ended up sending anything to them, but that's kind of how I got my start in like experimenting and like kind of figuring out how to do like electronic music production, etc.
Hmm.
And then essentially after that, I just kind of took this like very long hiatus until Weekly Beats popped up, and I'm like, that was actually kind of fun. Let me try it. And I feel like Weekly Beats has been like the single greatest like positive force in like my music and kind of like improving my music. Because like every week, like, you make something and you're part of a community that makes something.
Yeah.
And it's just such a supportive community too. It's like there's this unspoken rule that, people aren't critical like when they comment on your tracks unless you're asking for like a critique.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's so supportive, and I love it. So yeah,
People
kind of.
people are nice, like we hope they are.
Yes,
And
exactly.
there's no gatekeepers that's like, "Oh, this mix is horrible. You can't put that on here."
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the only gatekeepers is like, oh hey, like you just like copied, I don't know, Katy Perry's whatever. It's like you can't do that, unless are you Katy Perry?
Could be. Yeah.
Could be, you never know, because like there are like some pretty famous folks on Weekly Beats, I think.
Oh.
Because like Zabutom, Null Sleep, like those are like, at least from the music that I kind of listen to, those are some
Mm-hmm.
pretty big names, at least for me. So, but yeah. S-
So multiple weekly beats in, like, I definitely, since it was my first one, there's definitely this feeling of like kind of relief that you get a year off from the pressure. Uh, what makes you want to jump back in every year?
Makes me want to jump back in every year. You know, I had that same, so like when I was picking my three tracks, I was like thinking, I'm like, oh man, like this was like a lot. Like, it's like, do I want to do this again?
Yeah, totally.
I hit play on like the first track and I'm like, oh yeah, I have to do this again. Like,
Hell yeah.
all of those memories like kind of come flooding back when you like just when I, at least when I like listen to my tracks again, I'm like, yeah, uh, I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm really glad like this is out there because if I didn't do this, it's not there basically. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's just empty space. So yeah, there is the relief, and there is the oh man, like am I really gonna do this again? But it's also like you know everyone comes back to do it again. You're not
Mm-hmm.
alone. So
Yeah.
we're all crazy. we're all on board, the Speed Trash 1 flying
Yeah.
through the Weekly Beats universe. So
Yes, yes. And sometimes that's the spaceship that people appreciate the most.
oh yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, it's just really surprising that, sometimes I publish something that what is it, just took me an hour on Sunday and I'm like, I fucking hate this. And everyone loves it. It's just like 20 comments or something. And some of the other stuff that, I spend like the entire week on and like tweak everything, it's like super experimental, etc. And it's just like, who comments on it? DSLRV, like, because they comment on everything.
And we thank you.
We thank you. Absolutely. No, you know. So,
Uh,
yeah, it's really interesting to see like because you never know like how your music is going to be like received basically.
100%.
Yeah, but at the same time I feel like it's still very important to like be authentic to yourself
Yeah.
as you make it. It's like as much as like I mean I like getting comments. Like who doesn't like getting comments?
Yeah.
But I'm also like I kind of make this music like for myself first, basically. So
Yeah, I think anytime, at least for me, that I feel like I'm making the music for someone other than myself, I'm either not as happy with it or, yeah, looking for the approval of someone else. And it's not the same as just like experimenting, making stuff and throwing it out there.
yeah, it's this whole like I feel like it's this whole extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of got like a little bit of that. So Judgment Act and I sometimes we collab. We've collabed on like a maxi single called Cloud Reflection. We've also collabed on two game jams. And so like for me, because in my day job I'm a software engineer,
Mhm.
it's really interesting to kind of because I wrote the soundtrack to two of his game jams. So I'm not like doing the software this time. It's like I'm doing the music. And then he was kind of like an art director. So he was just kind of like, oh yeah, let's I'm thinking of like, can you make this more cheesy? So I'm like, all right, well, let's put the cheesy trance sounds in there. And he's like, no, no, less cheesy. This is too cheesy. Yeah. It's interesting like to kind of like make music with like those kinds of constraints.
Mhm.
You're still trying to remain authentic to yourself, but also like you're trying to get this project done, and like
Yeah.
making sure, you know, I don't know, I don't want to go all corpse speak, but like the stakeholders are okay with it.
The board is happy, I'm happy.
The board is happy with my music. Excellent. That's great. Ship it.
So, for Weekly Beats In,
Mhm.
how do you feel like your process has evolved, or like what what sort of approaches do you take each year to get better or challenge yourself or do it faster? Like, what do you kind of focus on?
Yeah, definitely. So I think like every year I just focus on cranking that maximizer a little higher, you know, just like get a little louder. No, but
Yeah.
that's actually one thing because like when I first started, like I don't even think that, yeah, I didn't even like have a limiter at the end of my mastering chain. I didn't like crank the gain up a little bit. So like if you listen to those tracks, they're very, very quiet. Or like the parts that aren't quiet are like, you know, there's this like drum transient that's just like, you know, you look at the waveform, it's like, oh yeah, like this is the loudest part. um, but I think like for me, what do I think like 2024 was like kind of hard to get better because I'm trying to experiment, but I'm also trying
Mhm.
to make it like to the deadline. And I
Yeah.
think it really depends on, you know, the rest of my life, like how much time do I actually have to give myself to experiment? Like there are always these like happy accidents that happen. I'm like, oh, interesting. Like for one of the tracks that we're going to be listening to today, I accidentally dragged like a sample in and it got dragged into Ableton's like convert to MIDI. And it just like created this like just random like, you know, chord, MIDI chord. And I'm like, you know
Mhm.
what? Let me listen to it and see how it sounds. And I'm like, oh, this actually sounds really cool. I'm just going to keep it. But yeah, I guess like improvement wise, just pay more attention to my mixing, I guess.
Mhm.
Try to like I've been trying to involve like more organic sounds as well. Like this year, there was a big focus on like choirs and like voices and like a lot of
Mm.
tracks that I had. I used to be a lot more like, you know, very like electronic, but this I'm just trying to like get more organic, get more Foley in there as
Yeah.
well. Um, I think if I one of the things that I really want to like try to improve on is just my music theory and like getting chords. I'm not
Mhm.
classically trained.
Yeah.
I honestly like I don't play any instruments.
Yeah.
I just produce, and I feel like that's kind of been like a gap for me. I do have like a digital piano. I like did some self-studying on it, and I found out like how much kind of I was gonna say power that gives you, but like it's kind of more like what is it? As you learn, like even as I was learning these basic songs, I started getting ideas in my head for like how I could apply like those techniques to like my compositions and stuff. And
Yeah.
like that was super cool. And I think that's something that I like also like want to focus on. Unfortunately, time is like limited. So,
Yeah, like, every time I'm like, "I'm gonna do a deep dive into music theory," I'm like, "Okay, I get how this works on paper," but when I go try to apply it, I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it, like, limits some of my experimentation, or I'm like, "Well, I gotta do the 1, 5, 4, 3," and, like,
oh yeah.
like, I have a hard time breaking knowing when to use the rules and when to break out of them. I need to probably go back and listen to my Grave Cat episode where he goes deep into music theory stuff. But yeah, I haven't found a good way to harness it for just like breaking new ground in music making, if you will.
Right. I found it really like helpful to kind of just either learn how to play other people's compositions and then see
Mm.
what how that kind of like that kind of gets my creative juices flowing, or like for arrangement, like you just load up a track into your DAW and then just kind of like create ghost clips for like the arrangement that
Mm.
you know uh, this track has, and then
Like
you
use
kind
it
of
kind of as a template.
yeah use it kind of as a template, and then you're like, oh, so this is like kind of what they did for their arrangement, maybe like, oh, maybe the way they uh, cut their pads off right here, that's really interesting, etc.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other, like, I feel like Weekly Beats was also just a huge mental game for me. The fourth time around, do you still feel like you're learning the mental game side of it?
Oh man, I think I'm always like learning the mental game. Each week is like it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just because you're always, well, okay, first of all, like what specifically about the mental game?
I think it's, for me, it was that fight between I've got a deadline, what I'm working on is not good right now. Will it ever be good enough in the time that I have? And then, like, having that doubt just makes you not really want to work on anything.
Yeah.
Even though
I
it's like you're not doing it for the comments, or like you still want to make something that you're like, I like that, or like that went somewhere, or I
right.
learned something.
Yeah. No, I completely, like I also have, yeah, it's exactly the same thing. It's like, hey, like, can I achieve something that I would enjoy by the end of this deadline? And the interesting thing is that if you look at it as like, maybe the you right now won't enjoy it, but maybe the you in 2 weeks might enjoy it, because that happens so many
Oh
times. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I release it, I'm like, man, this was like complete speed trash, and I can't, you know and then like, I come back 2 weeks later and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I made this, I hit play, I'm like, huh,
I
okay,
surprised myself.
yeah, like this is actually not too bad, just like, so yeah, so that's kind of like, I try to keep that in my head, that like, hey,
Mhm.
look, like, maybe you're not making this for current you, maybe you're making it for future you.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's always another week.
Yeah. But I want this week to be good.
I know I want every week to be good. That's just
Eh,
like, that's just on a acceptance scale. It's like you gotta accept it. That's just like, yeah, that's life, man.
I
Like,
mean,
not
I think
every
it happens the opposite way too, where it's like I am working on something before bed and I'm like, "Yeah, I think this is gonna be good."
Oh
And then
yeah.
and in the morning, you're like, "What the fuck was this?"
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, this
Did I
this
not have
happens.
ears last night or what?
the I'm always like scared of like putting something down because of that effect. Like, like I have a good loop going and I'm like, yeah, like I got to keep working on this. I know it's late. I got to keep working on this because I know that like, what if like it just doesn't sound good? Yeah, exactly. It's just
But I
so
mean, that just
interesting.
goes to show, like, your perception of now is not so connected to later, and sometimes, it happens the opposite of like, "Oh, 2 weeks later," I'm like, "Yeah, I really like what I did there. Why did I doubt myself then?"
Yeah. And it's what's interesting is like I find that the 2 weeks later I like what I did happens way more often than like 2 weeks later. Oh my God, like what did I
Yeah,
write?
yeah.
Or maybe
But
maybe
every
my
time,
mind.
every time I was in that low point where I was like, am I going to make this deadline? I was like, just go experiment and have fun.
Yeah,
And then inevitably, I'm like, oh shit, if I like tape these two things together, like this fucking works. Like, this is great.
that's awesome. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like this is for me, it's like if I love writing ambient stuff, but for some reason I don't write enough ambient tracks. Like the ambient sketches is like when I had a week with like a low point of inspiration, I'm like, I'm gonna do an ambient sketch and just experiment.
Yeah.
And it always, well, most of the time, yeah, it turns out pretty good. Yeah. It is just experimentation. Like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like yeah, it's experimenting.
Yeah. I'm still always looking for the how to experiment a little further outside the box because I feel
Mm,
like you kind of get in this like range of experimentation where you're like, yeah, I'm experimenting with maybe different melodies or different sounds, but I'm still sort of like making similar things. So how do you like to push the boundaries?
yeah, that's that's also tough, especially with the deadline. Because like sometimes I'm like, hey, like I could experiment with something. I'm not even sure I'm gonna have anything if I don't, follow
Yeah.
like some sort of formula that I followed before.
Mhm.
If I let's say like, I like sequence my own drums here. Do I have time for that? Like it's like 4 hours till deadline. Um, but yeah, there are some resources that I've like kind of used for just getting into a more experimental state of mind. There is a book called Making Music by Dennis DeSantis, which kind of like it has three sections that like separates into like problems of beginning, problems of like continuing, and problems of finishing.
Mm.
And depending on which stage you're at, you go in there and there is like just like a pearl of like wisdom there.
Ah.
And then Brian Eno had it's like a card deck called Oblique Strategies, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like you went to a Zen master and they just like said something like completely like, I don't know, off the cuff. And you just kind of have to meditate on it and like, how is this going to connect with my music? And then, I don't know, it's just supposed to like pop up in your head. It's like, oh yeah, this is like what I'm supposed to do. I think
Interesting.
it's supposed to get you out of your like sort of a creative block, because I think that might actually be, it's like, hey, like, I just don't know what to do here. And
Mhm.
it might be just, yeah, creative block. Like, hey, I have this, you know, formula and I want to break out of it. I just don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes for me, it's like I kinda know where I want to go,
Mm,
but I have trouble knowing what pieces to build to get there. Like, I know I wanna transition to, like, some sort of, like, reverby chord vibe, but I'm not sure like, just putting in a reverby chord doesn't, like, get you there. I feel like
right.
it's kind of a lot like if you've ever tried to, like, paint or draw, like, it's immediately frustrating because it never matches, like, what I think that I'm doing, It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that looks like nothing from my mind."
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh yeah, let me like draw this cube. And it's just like, no, wait, the line doesn't go there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, back
Like,
to the
"Okay,
drawing
well, I
board.
suck at this." But I think that's also the importance of doing this challenge and getting the reps in so that when you get into that situation, like over time, you're like, I know what to do. That's at least my hope anyway. I'm not there yet, but maybe after four.
I think I don't. So my personal philosophy is I don't think like I'm ever gonna be there. I think there's always gonna be like some yeah, something in the distance because like that's the challenge. That's the challenge of
Mm-hmm.
art is like, you're always gonna like want to do something different or learn something new. I mean, there's this article that I read. It's the title is like reality has like an infinite level of detail, and I think that music also has an infinite level of detail. But the nice thing is like you don't have to do this all like alone. You have this community, so like
Mm-hmm.
maybe like the next time that you're having like some sort of creative block, there's like a feedback channel, like post something and be like,
True.
hey, look, like I want to make this kind of transition, and who knows, maybe like yeah,
Yeah,
someone will help out.
harness
Harness the
harness the
community.
community in a different way than maybe I have been.
Maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So in a more to shift to like more practical
Sure.
kind of stuff, I know you pretty much exclusively use a doll, right?
That's correct. I actually had two mates. I ended up selling them just because I did
All
not
right,
use
episode's
them.
over.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, Tim's gonna hear this. He's gonna be like, "I hate you."
Ugh.
It's like you want to, like you want to be my friend? Not anymore.
You're just an old coworker now.
No, I think it's just like so I sold it to two musicians that I really respect, and I'm like, you guys like I just want to hear your music, and I want to hear your music like through this device because like you guys are awesome. I sold one to Charlie. He goes by the B-roll, and he does this like he's not a weekly beater, at least not yet.
Mm, mm. It's always
um,
time.
yeah, so he does this thing where he takes clips from movies and he like connects them to like the Eurorack, or he has a modular setup and he like makes music and like sequences the clips in like random patterns. It's sick. I love it. I love his performances. So he was like, yeah, like this. I totally want to like try out the May. He tried out my May. He's like, no, I want to buy it from you now. I'm like, all right. Well, I had two. Then I had one, and I got Companion Cube into Weekly Beats. Companion Cube was always interested, I think, a little bit in making music, and then so I sold my other mate to him, and yeah,
Nice.
he's been enjoying it, and yeah, I've been in the box. I've been working on the DAW. I'm kind of curious about the Electron boxes a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have a friend down in Long Beach. Actually, he he's like a semi-weekly beater. Sometimes publishes. I like keep encouraging him, but yeah, he's
The
got
bi-weekly beater.
bi-weekly beater. Yeah, Ekbat. And I feel like if I wanted to like try out something, he has so many boxes. Like
Yeah,
I could, yeah, he's got like a deluge. He's got. I think he's got something from Electron. I think it's a Digitact. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. But yeah, like
yeah.
I
I
got
recently got
resources.
a Digitone 2 at the beginning of the
Ooh,
year,
how is it?
so I don't find it as difficult as people claimed it to be.
Hmm.
I think I was sort of like a little apprehensive to get one because everyone's like, "Yeah, the electron flow," you know. Um, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't that bad." And granted, I haven't had it that long, and I don't know how to do everything on it, but
Right.
it's definitely a little bit more performative than the M8. Like, there's more controls exposed and like easier to do like pattern switching, and I
Okay.
sold a Deluge to get it
Oh, okay.
because I was like a huge Deluge fanboy. and
What
was like,
happened,
I'm
man?
never getting rid of this thing. And then I got the M8, and like I didn't use the deluge for like a year. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
went back to it, and like granted all the nice, amazing community firmware stuff. And I was just like, I don't even remember how to use this. And I wouldn't say I'm like the greatest sound design guy. And maybe I should have given it a little bit more of a try on the deluge. At times I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. But you can always reacquire if you need.
Yeah, you can always reacquire maybe like, at this stage of your life, the M8 is, or sorry, the Jiggy Tone 2 is your,
That's what I need right now.
yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
I'm like, I was sort of pondering the performance abilities of the Digitone and comparing it to the Deluge and kind of being like, I kind of could have done this on the Deluge. But, like, there's some differences that make the Digitone a little bit more attractive, like the bigger screen with some graphics of what you're actually adjusting. I don't know. There's
Yeah,
pros and cons to all of
what does your heart want?
it. My heart wants to learn how to do more performance kind of stuff.
There you go.
And I feel like maybe this was just the pivot. Maybe whatever I learn on the Digitone when the Deluge 2 comes out, if ever, like maybe that's
Yeah,
the time to jump back in. So I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Digitone 2, I'd say like is probably better for performance. Like,
Yeah. I'm sure there's some Deluge people that would
yeah, I mean
disagree.
the Deluge, sorry. Let's let's not say better. Let's just say different. Yeah, I feel
It's different. Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like really difficult to say like, oh hey, like this, piece of music equipment is better than like this other piece of music equipment. You know, it's just like they're all different. You
Yeah.
can even, if compare like the Digitone 2 versus like a triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very performative.
very performative. Yeah.
And I think there's also just something fun about exploring and learning these different devices,
Yeah,
and because I kind of feel like as much as people talk about the electron way of things, like if like and there are some limitations, I felt like I needed to experience it. Because like
absolutely.
it's one thing to watch like a YouTube video, but it's another one to spend like hours and hours and hours making stuff on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of them is more fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I own exactly one piece of electron equipment right now, actually,
Which
which
is
is my backpack.
oh, wow, yeah.
They make a very good backpack.
You can sample the zippers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what
Yeah.
I do late at night. I'm just like, I just need more samples. I just need more Foley samples. Everyone is asleep, take it outside, sample some crickets, sample the zip. Perfect.
So you said you don't play any instruments.
No.
So do you do most of your, like, melodies and stuff as just, like, MIDI sequencing?
MIDI sequencing and also on the push 2. So I guess
Alright.
like I don't I don't really I feel like if someone like put sheet music in front of me, it's like, "Hey,
Oh, no,
play
no, no.
this on the push
But you can
2."
noodle. You can noodle.
I can noodle. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
noodle, and honestly like the push has been great. I've been looking at the 3. It'd be interesting to play around with all of the MPE stuff. I haven't gotten
Mhm.
around to getting it. Maybe that'll be my Weekly Beats 2026 present, but we'll see.
And what's the newer one they just came out with?
Oh, the Move.
The
Yeah,
Move,
the
yeah.
Move. Oh yeah. Actually, so I go to a local makerspace here in the area. It's called Crash Space. And like once a month we have patching circle where all the musicians in the
Oh.
makerspace they like come together, and I got to play around with the move. It's very basic, but
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I feel like Ableton's whole like philosophy is like, we're gonna limit all these features so, you can have some creativity left over.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
A friend of mine has one, and he said that he likes it because it's just kind of like an idea starter machine. Like, it boots up with, like, 4 random sounds automatically, and so you're
hmm,
just like, "Yeah, let's go."
maybe I just need to get that because I feel like an idea starter machine is exactly what I need for weekly beats. It can be so hard to just start
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
You're yeah, like
You're,
yeah.
like, searching around for sounds for, like, an hour.
Well, I mean, searching around for sounds, I can just put a 303 and
Oh,
sound
true, true.
good. I have a 303 and like
I forgot who I
probably
was talking to here.
yeah. I mean, come on, like you just put a 303 in there and like oh man, you need another sound. You just put
Done.
another 303 in there and you just keep putting
Yeah.
303s. You want some drums? You take a 303, you resample it, you like crop it, bam, pitch
Boom.
bend, kick drum.
Man.
You just got to get that little click.
Uh, uh, well, I mean, some of your melodies don't I mean, a lot of them don't sound like MIDI sequence, like, they sound like there's, some human element to them.
Yeah, I try to do a fair amount of like automation. I think with like the 303 stuff, I try to do like pitch bends. I use this plugin called ABL3 for my 303, and like it's basically like you're MIDI sequencing the 303 sound. And yeah, like you know, yeah, I guess like all of the sort of pitch bends, you know, the
Mhm.
I guess it make it sound not
Some
sequence.
variation.
Yeah, I try to do a lot of automation. I remember like in a previous year I did like a jazz track just purely out of samples, all like sequenced, and I felt pretty good when someone complimented me on my drum playing, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, buddy, we've made it.
Yeah, I did it. It was like all that editing the velocities and then the drums, that worked out. So yeah, so I
Yeah,
kind of like I try to take the time to like, really try to put some detail into the sequencing so it doesn't sound, like everything's hitting at the same velocity and like
yeah.
yeah. So
Cool. Well, should we start listening to some of this music?
hell yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're gonna start out with After the War. Here we go. All right, that was After the War, which I think sounds like we're in a nice place after the war,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever war that is. But
yeah. Well, I mean, if you to get a little bit more personal on like why I sort of wrote after the war is so this is sort of I got divorced back in 2022,
mm,
and I kind of like wrote this track to kind of like signify like my like sort of after this war,
got it.
like so I guess like it's sort of a hopeful melody that you know yeah, I wanted things to like be more hopeful. And so far, like, apart from the stuff that's going on in the world,
Right.
uh
I haven't noticed.
yeah, no,
No,
nothing's bad at
we,
all. Yeah,
we focus
everything's
only
great.
on music here.
Yeah,
I don't do
exactly.
anything else.
Fair enough. Yeah, as you should. As you should, you know,
Uh,
we
but
can
yeah, I obviously this made your pick because you have been working through some personal wars. I think this has just like a great buildup of layers with lots of feels like every bar there's like some new ear candy coming in, and then like that really nice melody appears, and I really like that like high resonance synth at like 2 minutes. Might be a 303. I mean,
is it the one that plays the melody, the ta.
I think so, yeah.
So that is actually something that I kind of like made and played around with. It's actually four operators, each playing like a sine wave, each like kind of detuned, and there's an
Mm,
LFO on each one of them, which is a noise LFO. And I was basically trying to emulate the OP1 has a sound that's kind of similar to this. And there's a musician that I love. His name's Rephaser, and yeah, once I like heard the sound like in their music, I was just like enamored with it, and I was like, how do I recreate it? And yeah, so I made like a little patch like within Ableton with
nice.
operators, and like I can actually probably just upload it. Maybe we can put in like the description or something.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
don't know.
cool.
Yeah. So but yeah, it's kind of like I don't really get a chance to like do a lot of sound design during weekly beats because I feel like the deadline is like so close. It's like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna spend all of this time doing sound design and I'm not gonna have a track.
yeah.
So it's just like it's this like sort of balance.
It's a tough balance.
Yeah, but hey, maybe actually I just should spend this year just doing sound design and just like filling up my library.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, all right. So this is 2025 is going to be weekly sound design. 2026 is going to be weekly beats.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right. Then you'll
okay.
be then you'll be set up.
I love it. I love it.
That's a good idea actually.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Okay.
Because I also need to spend more time doing sound design, mainly because, and I talked about this in another episode that it's like hard to at first come to terms with like sound design is like just as important as like making the songs. Like the time spent making sound design is just as valuable as the time spent making a song
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
it like it could be the foundation of a song.
It could be. It could also be something that like doesn't matter at all. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I think like any time that you put into like really any piece of your track is like pretty
Yeah.
valuable. But yeah, the
I
sound
mean, there's plenty of times that I've been like I'm working on part of a song and nothing comes out either, so
yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I just
Maybe
had
that
to be like,
time.
well, I need to put this down and maybe something will come next time.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, maybe sometimes it's like sometimes the value is just, connecting with yourself.
Yeah, or your new instrument.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, connect with me, Electron workflow. God damn it. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Any other bits about this song?
The drum samples, I really love the Wave Alchemy drum tools. They are far and beyond like my favorite drum samples.
Valchemy?
Wave Alchemy.
Wave Alchemy. I'm looking this up because I'm always looking for more drum samples.
Oh yeah, you can never have enough. There's just like,
No.
yeah.
No.
Although I feel like you can never have enough, but I think you can have too much, which is I got like the samples from Mars, like everything pack, and I don't know. I'm just scared to look in those samples. There's just too many.
Well, towards the end of last year, Murder Cat shared these like jazz drum samples,
Oh,
and
that's
they are
awesome.
so good. I'm like,
Okay.
I can't not use them on every track because it's one of those sample kits that's got like all the different velocities,
Mhm.
and it's also got even if the snare's on in the background, like when you hit the kick and like the snare buzzes in the
Oh yeah,
background.
the little sizzle, the
Yeah, yeah.
crosstalk with the microphone. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, and they're so good, but I'm always looking for something better.
Oh yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. For
So
sure.
can never have too many drum samples.
Right.
All right, we're gonna move on to Spruce.
Okay.
that was Spruce. What made that one of your top 3?
I just really like the intro and just kind of like that sort of ambient synth and just the entire feel. It's like very airy, very breathy. I think I called it spruce because it like evokes images of like walking through a forest. Well, I guess it's a very upbeat forest
Yeah,
with some
yeah.
303s. As always, you know.
As is customary.
Yeah. What else? Oh, there's for like more. I feel like I'm like giving up all my secrets here. With
Just
all
go
the
for it,
samples.
man.
Just kidding. There are no secrets. So I like not only like sequencing drums, but I also kind of like throwing some loops in there as well, just like for
Mhm.
layering. There is this place called, or this website called Ghost Syndicate that I really like their sort of drum and bass loops, and I kind of I put them in for like layering. And yeah, I just try to put a lot of detail into my drums
Yeah.
because so like when way back when I used to listen to a lot of net labels and I used to listen to a lot of net label IDM and like that kind of that drum sequencing like kind of really stayed with me. That sort of like Autechre, but like a little bit less crazy. Um,
Yeah, it's like a nice bed of percussion.
yeah,
Nothing is like overpowering, but it's like this nice just rhythm that keeps things moving forward.
yeah,
And I've
yeah,
noticed that in your songs that like mine is your typical, drum kit, but you've got a lot going on, but it's not chaotic.
yeah. I think it's also because like I like pretty much duck everything like by the kick, so that also kind of
Mhm.
helps clear some room. And yeah, always keep an eye on my levels. You don't want to have like the that peak at 400 and you're just like, oh no. Like mud, mud. When I first started making music, I loved the sound of reverb so much. I just put it on everything. And like I sent it out to like some musician friends of mine. They're like, "Oh, it's so muddy." I'm like, "What are you talking about, man? This is the best sound ever. It's reverb. You put on everything. You put on the kick.
It
Like, come
sounds like we're
on."
standing outside the club. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and the but like these days though, I actually don't use much reverb at all.
Mm.
Like I just kind of I get around by using delay, and I think that also like kind of brings some room back to the mix.
I was
It's
just about to
surprising.
comment, I love the 303, like, with the heavy ass delay
Oh
at, like,
yeah.
130.
Yes.
It's so tasty.
Delay, yeah, delay is like I mean it's my favorite effect. It's so versatile, like you can use it for all sorts of things. Yeah.
And then my other comment for the song was, "What a fucking vibe."
Oh yeah.
Like,
Thank you.
it's just great.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Just a total vibe, so,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe they'll play it in the club one day.
Yeah. Maybe. Alright, we're gonna keep it rolling out of the forest into the fields. Here we go. All right, that was Fields. What made that one of your picks?
I just like the soundscape and just like how many different sounds that I was able to kind of cram into this track. So we got lots of Foley. We got like these like glitchy sort of like like drums, which
Yeah.
I took like I just kind of make like a 120 a bunch of 1/64th or like 1/28th notes and just like I don't know, drew a bunch of them in sequence to kind of make those glitchy sounds. And then let's see. Oh, the also like one of the melodies, there's like this mandolin that I
I
got
was gonna
from,
ask about that.
yeah, the mandolin. Actually from Spitfire Labs, they have like some really, really great kind of like weird-ish samples, instruments. I don't know what's been going on with them. I don't know if they went paid or something, or I don't know, because
Mm,
like I've their website's all different now. They have like a subscription, so I don't know. But I got them when they were still free, which was nice. But I kind of started like noodling around and recording something on this mandolin, and I just like completely like messed it up. And then I was like going back to it. I'm like, wait, this actually kind of sounds good, and it just took the track in like an entirely different direction,
love that.
just because I like messed up, like trying to play something.
I love when you drop something in the pot and make a new stew.
Oh my God, yes, yes, absolutely. That's a really apt analogy, actually. Yeah, solid.
uh, yeah, I was gonna because it starts out with that mandolin
Yeah,
sample,
yeah.
and it kind of goes through, and I was like, I don't know if he's playing that or if that's a sample, but it's
That's
also very rhythmic on its own while being a melodic element.
yeah, yeah. I love like just kind of having, I don't know if it's happening on this track, but like having a sort of like two melodies, or having a melody be like rhythmically similar to like the drums or something, or you could
Hmm.
do like a call and response type of thing. Like that's really cool. I like that kind of like detail that gets added there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I wanted to take a commercial break real quick.
Oh,
This episode
Squarespace.
is brought to us.
Sorry.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Jegasis. He's my number one fan, and he's yours too, because he commented on this and said, "This is so badass!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Times four. Such a fantastic mix of sounds, creating such an awesome and lush soundscape. This is incredible. Which
Oh,
he says it better than me, and he's our sponsor of the show.
that's really sweet. Thank you, Jegasis.
And we were also joking around in the Weekly Beats Discord that Jegasis is the official sponsor of the show because he is everyone's number one fan. So I had to throw that in there.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
And NordVPN. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yes, yes, of course, of course.
No, not sponsored by any VPN. Jesus Christ.
Not yet, not
Not yet.
yet.
True.
I mean,
Maybe.
when you get all big and
Yeah,
maybe
million,
you'll like
1 million listeners.
or you'll start interviewing like not just Weekly Beats, but like mate folks. Because like I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
I
Trash. We
was
gotta have
talking.
Trash 80 on here.
Gotta have Trash 80 on here. I remember I was talking to Trash 80 once, and he was telling me that like Aphex Twin bought a mate, so maybe
Oh,
you can
sweet.
interview Aphex Twin.
Yeah. I've often wondered if Trash 80 knows about this show. So,
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
eventually.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should move on to my picks now. I think I'm going to start with Chill Pill. All right, that was Chill Pill. And ever since I saw the first comment on this, back when this was put out from Dizzy 800, they said, this is perfect night driving music. And couldn't agree more. And ever since I saw that comment, when I listen to this, I'm like picture myself driving down the highway with the windows down. So maybe not the original intention of writing the song, but
No, I like that. I like that. It's not your usual synthwave driving music, but I can see that. I can see driving down the highway and just kind of like listening to this and just feeling comfy, feeling cozy in your car.
chill.
Chill, exactly. Yeah, there's actually like a lot to kind of say about this one. Like, I guess uh there's like these Foley samples. I believe it's like leaves being like crunched in like the background, and they were like drum hits that I just kind of like it. Yeah, it's like vocal chops except for leaves being crunched. So leaf
Mm.
crunch chops. I don't know how
brought to
else to
you
describe it.
brought to you by Fall.
Brought to you by nature. This podcast is sponsored by nature. Go outside and touch grass.
No, don't leave.
No. Keep listening to the podcast after the
Yeah,
podcast is done. All right.
yeah.
There so the choir samples, I love these choir samples. It is Gaelic Voices by Spitfire Labs. So good. Um and the 303s, I did kind of a style choice there, and I made them like super reverbed, like a little bit like more. I think that anyone would really reverb them, and I think it
Mm-hmm.
was because I was listening to Voltaic Acid from Lapalux, and I think they did their 303s, I think, way better than I did. I love like what they did to them, but I kind of wanted to pay like an homage to that track by like really kind of like doing this reverb like 303. Yeah, fantastic track, by the way. If anyone just everyone should listen to it. And then for the bass, I also used in Spitfire Labs, there's this foghorn sample pack. And I feel like that kind of also gives the bass like this sort of organic quality to it. That's just like not your regular old, I don't know, saw wave. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just like I try to put like a lot of like organic quality into my music, and that's kind of what I found that really embodies the sort of vibe that I want to put out.
Nice. I really, really like the glidey sounds, and someone else commented, I think Chris Fu said, "Damn, that glidey lead and that huge space is awesome."
Oh yeah.
So, and that's the one where I was listening to it and I was like, this sounds like it's not sequenced.
It was most definitely sequenced.
I mean, it
But
sounds like there's like some human elements to it. Probably
yeah,
like you said, because of the automation and just the glide kind of like delays some stuff.
yeah, I think like so there was a maxi single that I released with like Judgment Act Cloud Reflection where he took like the 303 melody and he kind of he put a Vocaloid on top of that. And I think ever since then, I've been kind of like mentally picturing like the 303 as actually being like human, and I guess like being like a human like singer.
Yeah.
And just kind of like if I look at the 303 that way, you know, there's really like a lot more that it can do rather than you have your usual like I don't know 303 line that like you kind of like tweak with like the cutoff, the resonance, the envelope
Mhm.
modulation, etc. It's like no, like have it be like, you know, a little longer, like the notes a little longer, make it be a little bit
Yeah.
more human. So yeah.
Mhm. And that makes me think of there's this guy, I think on Instagram, this Japanese guy that he will go up and start talking to people and then starts busting out in 303 sounds.
What? You
Oh,
need
I
to
need
send
to
me
find
this.
it.
Oh my
I need to
God.
find it. It's amazing.
Oh
He'll be
my
like,
God.
"Hey, do you wanna go to dinner?" Like,
Oh, that's
and it sounds perfect. It sounds perfect. I need to find it.
please send it to me.
You will love it. You will love it. All right. We should move on now. I'm trying to think. I've got 2 left, and I think I might switch my original order and play Walk Among Nature. Alright, that was Walk Among Nature, and I felt like not only is the song amazing, but I felt like it was a good transition from the last episode with Devious's synthetic birds to these real birds, to,
Yeah.
like, keep the bird theme going.
I wish I could say it was like an homage to the synthetic birds, but it I just didn't know what to do. I think it was really close to deadline, and I was like, I'm gonna take this Foley sample and like, here, I have something. Let's build something on top of this
Put a
because
bird
it's
on it.
really close to deadline. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. And yeah, it actually turned out pretty good. I like it. There's a
Yeah,
really
I really like the, like, detuned piano that you start out with, and I think just the nature sounds and like, another good, like, steady rhythm in the background that's not overpowering things. It just, like, keeps things moving. So I'm picking up on your themes here of, like, how you sort of, like, build your layers.
yeah, Yeah, definitely. This one is just like I just kept adding things. I have just this giant collection of shaker samples, and I just like went and I'm like, yeah, this needs a shaker. You know, why
Yeah,
not? Let's
totally.
do it. Yeah, the piano again, Labs. There's a tape piano set,
Nice.
and yeah, I kind of it's got a nice vibe to it, very lo-fi. Um, there's that bass sound as
Ooh,
well.
yeah. I noted it as dirty, nasty tuba.
I'm gonna put a dirty nasty too. I'm gonna run it through like 5 instances of roar
Yeah.
on like week one of my weekly beats 2026. I'm just
I'm
gonna
I'm
send
waiting
it
for
like
it.
straight to you. You know, it's gonna be like, yeah. I don't know, cause like
Well, it's
how
time for
how would
sound
it sound?
design.
Oh yeah, exactly. Sound design. As soon as, yeah, this week I'm making a dirty nasty tuba.
Yeah. No, but it does like the song's going along and then it like that just kind of takes it into a whole nother level.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been a bit jarring, but honestly, I think it sounds good.
No, I think it sounds amazing.
Yeah, then there was also this interesting bit where I think I was messing around, I took a sample and I accidentally like put it on a MIDI track, so it converted to MIDI and it just like gave me this like disgusting chord. And instead of deleting it, I was like, I wonder how this sounds. So I put like an organ on it, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this. This is the thing. This is what happens when you're really close to deadline, and this is the kind of experimentation that happens where you're just like, you know, it can't get worse. It
What's
can only get
interesting
better.
because we've been talking about how you don't have enough time to experiment, but
Yeah.
then it's like, "Oh, I don't have any time, so let me really experiment."
Yeah, maybe that's like maybe that's the sort of energy that I need to channel. It's like, hey, look,
Yeah,
like, yeah, sure, there's a deadline. Just throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
yeah, yeah, or bring that energy to earlier in the process, like, "Alright, I'm gonna spend, like, 30 minutes just doing wild experiments.
True, yeah, but then I feel like you're
Limit
always
my disaster time."
yeah. Yeah, I feel like you're always gonna be looking at the clock and be like, oh man, but this is like, well, this is like something that time that I could be using to like write my track, but I'm just like doing this stuff.
I must use this 30 minutes at the very end to, add some experimental noises.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just not too
Something about the
experimental,
pressure. Something about the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think this is, a great song, and I think the nature sounds kind of take it to another place that maybe the other more subtle Foley sounds wouldn't have.
Yeah, it's this song, it's definitely not subtle, that's for sure.
No, but it works. It doesn't feel like it's, like, cluttered at all.
Right.
And I also thought it was interesting too, and also, like, a little bit of, like, "Oh, look how far I've come," because all the comments of on the song are from people that have already been on the show.
Oh, wow.
So, Devious, Peter M, Level Capybara, and Murder Cat. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I know those people."
Right on.
So, it's kinda cool, kinda cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start to close out the episode,
Oh,
and
sad.
we're going to close it out with another chill song, Chill Redux. I chose Chill Redux maybe because like I do feel like it's a chill song. It is definitely faster paced, But I still feel like it's a chill, comfortable song. Replicator commented, "This is chill while traveling at 200 kilometers an hour through the Autobahn on an early Sunday morning. I like the acid line against the piano." And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god.
"Yeah, I can see that."
Yeah, yeah, I mean, they're the drivers, on the Autobahn, they're pretty
They're
good.
pretty
So it'll
chill.
be a
They're pretty
chill,
chill.
it'll be a chill
Yeah.
thing. It's not like, yeah, you don't have any like self-driving cars trying to run you over there. um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just like I slap the chill label on if like I have a piano that's like a lo-fi. Maybe my
Mhm.
chill is like another person's lo-fi, but it's not even that lo-fi. Because we got that like 303 that's just like everywhere.
Yeah. It sounds great.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I think with this one, if you kind of listen closely, there's like I put some like flanger on like the percussion in the back. So yeah, so just like yeah, maybe it's like my kind of lo-fi, but
Yeah.
I call it chill. Yeah.
I mean, the bass line has me from the beginning. Like, it's just like a really cool bass line, really nice piano. And it's hard, like I said, that acid line sounds great. It's hard to beat.
Thank you. Yeah, it's put put a 303, put like a bunch of distortion saturation on it. You got a
Mm.
soup cooking. Your 303 soup.
Tasty.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, well, we'll let people hear this one in a minute, and thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah. Are you are you still nervous?
No, no,
Okay,
I'm
good.
I've accepted whatever might happen. No, I honestly I had a lot of fun.
Uh,
And I think for like everyone else like on Weekly Beats, this is so much fun. You guys should all like
awesome.
get interviewed. Go on SQF's show.
Yeah, I, of course, need more guests always, and I am due to respond to some people on the channel, and thanks to everyone who has reached out that I need to respond to. And thanks again to Judgment Act to setting up that channel because I really like being able to comment per episode. And I just think the discussion is so much better. And I think people are just now starting to discover it and being able to go back and look at episodes from people that maybe they listened to over the year. So I think that's really cool. So thanks again for that. And really cool to just dig into more of your music because I listen to a lot of your stuff over the Weekly Beats year in the fire hose of songs every week.
Yes.
So and I saw you a few times on the weekly meets that I probably need to do more of the weekly meets next year.
Apart
So
from the
yeah,
summer hours,
summer
summer days.
stuff. I like to be outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but we're spoiled because it's in our time zone. There are other people that it's like 3 a.m. for them. So
Fair. Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I can suck it up sometimes. So yes. Well, cool. That
All right,
concludes
man.
this episode. Sponsored by Jegasis.
Yes. It's just gonna be a
And
running joke now.
oh yeah, it already is. And we will play it out with Chill Redux. And thanks to everyone for continuing to listen and comment on episodes and enjoy this thing. So
All right.
have a good one.